All right, everyone, welcome back. Ready to dive in. Today, we're tackling something that sounds a little technical, maybe even a bit intimidating. Data pipelines.
Oh, yeah, data pipelines. Sounds complicated.
It sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, right?
Yeah.
But trust me, it's way cooler than it sounds. Plus, one of you sent in this really interesting excerpt all about them. And while we love a good listener request, you want to know how we get from raw data, all those ones and zeros, to like actual insights that make a difference?
The aha moments. I love those.
Right. Those are the best. Data pipelines are the unsung heroes making those aha moments happen. They're like the behind-the-scenes crew of the data world.
Love that analogy.
And to help us break it all down, we've got our amazing data expert back with us, ready to demystify data pipelines for us.
Absolutely. Let's do it. I actually really liked how in this excerpt they described the starting point of a data pipeline like a bustling city of data.
A bustling city of data. I like that visual. But instead of like skyscrapers and taxis, we're talking about spreadsheets, databases, all that stuff, right?
Exactly. And don't forget about all those system logs, clicks, purchases, GPS locations. It's amazing how much data we're generating every single day.
It's mind-blowing. It's like every little interaction we have leaves a digital breadcrumb trail.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have this bustling city of raw data. What's the next step? How do we make sense of it all? This is where the pipeline comes in.
Precisely. Just like a city needs pipes to transport water and, manage all the stuff. Data needs a pipeline to organize and transport it to where it needs to go.
Okay, that makes sense. So the data pipeline is like the infrastructure, the transportation network for data. Where does it actually start? What are the key stops along the way?
Well, every pipeline has to start somewhere, right? It all begins at the source, then the data gets processed, then stored, and finally, and this is the exciting part, utilized.
Source, process, store, utilize. Okay, I'm with you so far. So stage one is all about tapping into that bustling city you were talking about and gathering up all that raw data. Then what?
That's where things get refined. You see, raw data, it's kind of messy, kind of like crude oil, It needs to be processed to be useful. That's where data engineers come in. They use techniques like ETL or ELT, which sounds super complicated.
Oh, what? ETL. ELT. Yeah, you're right. Those sound a little intimidating.
They're actually not that bad. Think of it like baking a cake. ETL is like meticulously prepping your ingredients before you mix. It stands for extract, transform, and load. So you're extracting the data from its source, transforming it, like cleaning and formatting it, and then loading it into a database or a storage system.
Okay, I'm following. So ETL is like prepping your ingredients. Got it. But what about ELT? You said it was similar.
Right. ELT is kind of like if you just threw all your ingredients into a bowl first, then worried about mixing them together later. You load everything into your storage first, then transform and organize it.
Got it. So it's about preparing the data, making it usable, but preparing it for what exactly? That's where storage comes in, right?
You got it. So we've got all this nicely prepped data. We need a place to put it. This excerpt mentioned data lakes, data warehouses, and data marts. They all sound very watery.
They do, don't they? I'm picturing like massive data reservoirs.
Okay, so a data lake is kind of like a giant lake, right? You can store anything in there, structured, unstructured, big data, small data. It's all welcome. It's super flexible.
Sounds like my kind of lake.
Then we have the data warehouse, which is a bit more organized, like a well-stocked department store. Everything has its place, and it's optimized for finding specific data quickly.
So if I need, say, sales data from last quarter, the data warehouse is the place to go.
Exactly. Then there's the data mart, which is like a specialty boutique within that department store. It's a subset of data specifically tailored for a particular team or department, like marketing or finance.
Okay, I'm really starting to see how each stage of the pipeline builds upon the last. We've gathered the data, prepped it, stored it. But the real magic, I'm guessing, is in the final stage, the utilization stage. Yeah. This is where we finally get to turn all this data into actual usable insights, right?
You nailed it. This is where data analysis tools and those fancy algorithms come into play. Think data visualization, predictive modeling, machine learning. We're talking about uncovering hidden patterns and trends that would have otherwise stayed buried in a mountain of data.
Okay, this is what gets me so excited.
Yeah.
So for our listeners out there, how does this all translate to their daily lives? Because it can't all be about business and algorithms, right?
You're absolutely right. It's everywhere. Think about when you're shopping online and you get those eerily accurate product recommendations.
Or when you're binging a show and the streaming service is like, you might also like. It's a little creepy sometimes.
Right. But that's data pipelines in action. They're using your past behavior, your likes and dislikes, to try and predict what you'll want next. It's all about personalization.
It's amazing, really. And it's not just about consumer stuff, is it?
No way. Businesses are using data pipelines to streamline their supply chains, forecast sales, personalize marketing campaigns, even make healthcare more effective.
Data is everywhere. This deep dive has been a real eye-opener, I've got to say. I knew data pipelines were important, but I had no idea how much they impact our lives every single day.
Absolutely. And the more data we generate, the more important it's going to become to have the right systems in place to manage it all.
Well said. It's not just about being techie, it's about being data literate.
100%. And, as you go about your day, as you encounter data in your life, and trust me, you will, just take a moment to think, where did this information come from?
I love that, because behind every data point, behind every insight, there's a whole pipeline working its magic.
Exactly.
And on that note, that wraps up our deep dive into the fascinating world of data pipelines. We've gone from bustling digital cities to cake analogies. And I, for one, am starving for some cake.
Me too.
Big thanks to our amazing expert for, being an expert.
Yeah.
And as always, a huge thank you to all of you for listening, for your questions, and for joining us on this journey of knowledge and discovery. Until next time, stay curious.